Hi and welcome to a recap of week 2 of Camp NaNoWriMo. I started week 2 by editing chapter 5 of Project Prehistory. This was a relatively simple chapter as I didn't have to make massive changes to the scenes. Most of what I did was making sentence level edits, making sure the text flows better, deleting unnecessary sentences, and adding details where necessary. I started the edits on Monday evening and I edited part of the first scene. So here is Tuesday when I edited scenes 1 and 2. Scene 1 was a longer scene, so it took me quite some time and there were some tricky issues with the flow of the text. Scene 2, on the other hand, was a shorter scene, so it was relatively painless to edit. That being said, it felt like I was struggling even though I edited 1482 words on Tuesday, which at that time was the most words I had edited in April in a day. That would all change later in the week though, but more on that later. On Wednesday, I edited scene 3 and started scene 4. This was a little less productive day. I mean, I did edit 1135 words, but it still felt really slow going. Although I can't remember anymore what took me so long to edit scene 3. It just probably had some paragraph flow issues and I needed to figure out whether I needed to cut a sentence or add in another to make the text flow better. Anyway, I'm tired of looking at footage of me in front of the computer, so here's a pizza I made that evening. On Thursday, I edited scenes 4 and 5 and finished the chapter. Scene 4 was a bit of a struggle because it's a hunting scene and I've never hunted anything, so I'm afraid I'll just mess everything up and people are going to tell me that that's not how bow hunting works. Scene 5, on the other hand, was surprisingly easy. I had thought it would be a lot more difficult because I had to change the focus of that scene so that there won't be repetition, because the same ideas are repeated in the first scene of chapter 7. Now, chapter 7 will be an ordeal because basically I have to revise everything in that chapter. But at least I now know what's being said in chapter 5 and can avoid repeating those things. I don't know why it felt like I was struggling so much this week. I guess part of the reason is that at this point, or at least with this chapter, I was mostly doing sentence level edits. I'm trying to avoid crutch expressions, like when I need the character to react, the first reaction that comes to my mind is usually something that I've already used in the book, possibly several times, like shrugging and sighing and raising eyebrows and so on. So I need to get past the initial idea and come up with something different. Now I love using the emotion thesaurus, but even with its help, it's not always easy to come up with something different. And then I'm just sitting there staring at the computer screen with no idea how to proceed. Honestly, the best thing I can do in that situation is to get up and walk around my living room, which I did a lot this week. Then it's Friday and I decided to switch gears. I edited my contemporary urban fantasy paranormal short story. I don't really know how to categorize it. I wrote the first draft during NaNoWriMo last November and I'm in love with the story. The first draft was in really good condition, no developmental edits needed, so I only needed to do some line edits and a little more research to make sure I had the pottery making details correct. Basically just checking in which order you glaze and fire pottery. I don't need to make it super detailed how the main character does their job, but I do want it to have the resemblance of me knowing how things work. I also added a tiny detail that adds even more emotion to an already very emotional story. Anyway, I edited the whole short story in one day. 5,130 words. It feels so weird to say I edited over 5,000 words in one day when majority of them are exactly the same as in the first draft, and I changed less than 10% of the text. But I don't know how else to track what's edited. I mean, I did read the text through and I think the unchanged words are good, so I'm just going to say I edited 5,000 words in a day. Anyway, back to Project Prehistory. Chapters 6 and 7 are the ones that need a lot of changes. I talked about this in a previous vlog where I was trying to figure out some more developmental level changes that I still need to do to this draft. And since I had the time on week 2, I first read chapter 6 on Thursday evening and started editing it on Friday evening after editing the short story. Now on Friday I managed to edit one paragraph, although that wasn't the only thing I did. I made some initial changes in the text as well, but as I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep those changes, I didn't count them as words edited. I continued the first scene on Saturday. I had a slow start. The first scene needs a lot of restructuring because I want to change the focus of the scene. Previously, the main character's issue was that she doesn't know what she wants to do when she grows up. My beta readers had a problem with that. It seemed like she lacked a clear goal and also the stakes were lacking. So simply wanting to figure out what she wants to do when she grows up wasn't a good enough goal. So now I'm changing it so that she knows what she wants to do but is unwilling to listen to people when they tell her what she needs to do in order to reach that goal because she thinks she knows better. Which hopefully makes her story and character arc more exciting to read. Anyway, part of the scene 1 can stay the same because there are elements that fit with the new focus of the scene, but I spent a lot of time figuring out what order I wanted to present the information and what needs to be added and what needs to be deleted or changed before I could even start actually changing the text. I got about halfway done with the first scene and I need to continue with it on week 3, but at least at this point I'm ahead of schedule. I've edited more than half of my goal of 25,000 edited words. I'm currently at 14,000 plus edited words. I'm excited to continue editing chapter 6, so I'll let you know how it went in next week's recap. So I'll see you in my next video.